Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first edition of the 2023 Hard Nine Pod. Hopefully, everybody had a fantastic, happy holidays, a great new year, and we are marching forward towards pitchers and catchers reporting.
Yeah, just about 6 weeks away, right?
Yeah, I think it's Valentine's Day, I believe, February 14th.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to get to spring training. I think this is gonna with the WBC, and I think a lot of minor leaguers are gonna be playing that we don't normally get to see a lot of. So I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting, especially with the Cardinals, to see do they give Gorman, Yepes, Walker, a ton of early at bats, maybe even Brendan Donovan, maybe
Carlson.
even Correa, Carlson. Like it's interesting to see how they do that. Ollie, that's going to be interesting because you've got so many. I mean, again, we've talked about it on here for since the end of the season. You've got a lot of guys for a certain amount of positions, and it's going to be interesting to see how they whittle those out. I still truly believe that unless he comes out and has a J-Rod spring training, Jordan Walker probably, because defensively destined for AAA to where they want to get him some more games under his belt in the outfield. But who knows? I mean, again, we've seen J-Rod do it. We've seen other guys show up in spring
Bobby
training.
Witt.
You know they're here, right? The next thing you know, they're at the show.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if I think they want him to force their hand, kind of, But
I'm
here's
sure
the
they
thing
do.
that's interesting to me, and I guess something once spring training, and if this becomes a scenario, we can talk about more. But in the event that Jordan Walker does do what he's done his entire career, which is mash, and he does on spring training, like he did in the Arizona Fall League, what do they do? Do they trade someone? Is that when a trade can come down? And
I don't know.
you
I
know
don't
what I
know.
mean?
I mean, it. Okay, obviously, as always, Cardinal Twitter has been very loud lately. That's not new. Uh, when we left the winter meetings, you and I talked about on here, chances of them doing something very slim. Like you don't see a lot of moves around Christmas, although we do have a few that we need to talk about here in a little bit. But it is going to be interesting to see if a move is on the horizon. Somebody reported today, should know this. Somebody reported today that the Cardinals have been pretty active as far as talking with clubs about things. I saw it on Twitter.
You saw that?
Good name, yeah, but it was
I
that
missed
they
that.
have been talking with clubs, and I'll have to find it where it is. But they're not going to show their hand. Like people are upset that they don't know. It's wild to me that Joe Twitter is mad because they don't know what John Mozeliak is doing on the daily basis. Do you know what I mean? Why would he tell us?
I think, yeah, when you come out and you say what your need is, catcher, for example, you get, hey, we want Nootbaar, Donovan, and Graceffo. That's what you
Right.
get. So there's no reason to. And here's the thing: the Cardinals, while they have some things that they need to address, mainly for me, just getting a top end rotation piece, they don't have a need that's so pressing that they have to overextend themselves to go get it right now.
Agreed. And to quote my source, Jim Bowden, wrote an article in The
So
Athletic. Well,
okay,
again, who knows, right? Again, it's all. First of all, we all know that no one knows.
well, Jim
Um,
Bowden just spews bullshit every offseason.
so we don't know there, but like you and I here's where my concern lies right now. January 4th, 2023. Cardinals are 16th in payroll. That's unacceptable right now. The whole hullabaloo in late October, early November, whenever it was, late November, early December, was Mo flies to talk to Nolan, right? Nolan opts in. Did Nolan, was he always going to opt in? Was there something, was he not told that they were going to increase payroll? I mean, obviously we brought in Wilson Contreras, but it does tell you that 16th Cardinals should never be 16th in payroll. They just shouldn't. But
No,
however, doesn't matter on June 4th or January 4th. It doesn't matter. It does,
yeah,
when we
and
get to
here's the
spring
thing.
training, then it matters.
And here's the thing where payroll, I just don't care all that much about it sometimes. Because here's the thing, like, yeah, you could go sign someone just to get your payroll in the top 10. But I don't think there was anyone on the free agent market other than a shortstop, which they weren't going to do. That was worth moving one of your starters out for. And then you look at the pitching market, Rodon was destined to be a Yankee. DeGrom wasn't, that's not ever going to happen
No.
because that's a bad investment and they don't want to do that. And Justin Verlander, they're not paying $40 million a year.
No.
And I think Verlander wanted to be on a coast anyway. So you look at it, yes, I mean, I would love them for them to add payroll, but you don't just do it just to add payroll. That doesn't make
No.
any
I
sense.
agree, and that was kind of where I was going with that. Like, one, if we get into the season and we're still 16th in payroll and we still have the question marks that we have today, then there's a problem.
Okay, but what
But
do you consider a question mark?
Well, what if Gorman? I mean, what if worst case scenario? Gorman, Yepes, Walker, terrible in spring training. Dylan Carlson looks like what we saw last year. Dylan Carlson in spring training. We see Tyler O'Neill, who still either doesn't look good, gets in. Like those are all worst case scenarios that the guys that we have question marks about, hoping that we're going to see them take their game to another level, don't. That is the worst case scenario. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I'm saying if that happens, now all of a sudden you have no value for those guys, or very little.
Well, here's the thing. Are
lower.
you talking about this happening in spring training?
Spring training? Yeah,
Well, I don't give a shit about if Dylan Carlson bats
Okay.
200 in spring training. Do you care about that?
a little bit.
That
a little
matters
bit.
none. Paul DeJong batted 450
I
last year in
know.
spring
I
training.
know.
It was horrible.
I completely understand that. I want to see him come out and be ready, like driving the ball. Okay, if he's hitting 200, but he's driving the ball around the different. I mean, there are different
Yeah.
levels of 200 in spring training. Okay,
Here's the
There's different
thing, though,
levels of
like-
400 in spring training.
Like what
So-
you're saying, though, even if that does happen, let's say the outfield looks like it's in shambles. I don't believe that's going to be the case. But if it does happen, then what do you do?
I don't
And
know.
what would you even do before that? What, you're going to go sign a memo
I don't.
for a
I don't
ridiculous
know.
contract?
And again, I think this is all speculation because that's a worst case scenario.
But here's my thing, Dad. The reason that their payroll is as low as it is, some of the reason, not all of it. I'm not trying to defend them. They should have a higher payroll. But the reason it is as low as it is currently is because Carlson's making league minimum, is because Gorman and Donovan and all these impact players for them are making league minimum. Like Jordan Walker's going to be making league minimum.
I agree.
In 2 years, it just naturally will go up because they're all hidden arbitration. So I don't think you just go spend money to spend it. They should spend more money on the rotation, but they were in an interesting market where, you're either spending top dollar for guys that probably don't even want to be on your team with Rodon, DeGrom, Verlander. I just can't imagine any of those three coming here.
Okay.
And then the next tier are just guys you have already.
Agreed. What I would say is, if to play devil's advocate, you don't just have to spend, but there were guys in the bullpen that were available that the Cardinals could have gone out and signed to make. Again, you and I've talked on here. I will continue to say it. Our rotation has a lot of question marks of guys. They just do, right? We're hoping. Again, this team has a lot.
Are you saying rotation or bullpen? You just said
So I'm
both.
saying let me finish. What I'm saying is if you can get your rotation through 5 and you've got, boom, the bullpen, that's where I think they could have. There were guys out there that this team could have gone out and signed to put at the back end of the bullpen, elite arms that makes this roster incredibly better without having to mess with making
But
a trade for.
But who though? Suarez went back on a crazy contract, and Montero went back on a crazy contract. After that, it's question marks. Like Craig Kimball's not a for sure thing. Andrew Chafin's still out there.
You were in favor of Craig Kimball.
I did like Craig Kimball, but I'm not going to say he's a for sure, elite arm right now.
Those are valid points. And again, I'm not trying to be critical of what the front office has not done or has done. Like, I think Brady Wilson Contreras in alone is a massive upgrade. But I will be honest, if we're just looking at things black and white logic, there are a lot. Like, is Brendan Donovan? Is this who he's going to be? I think it is, right? Does Tommy Edman continue? Do we see a regression from Paul and Nolan? Like, are we going to see at 36 years old another MVP season from Goldie? I'm not saying no. I'm simply asking the questions here. Does Dylan Carlson take a step forward that he didn't this year? And obviously injuries were there. Can Tyler O'Neill stay healthy? Is Lars Nootbaar going to be what we believe? Like, all I'm saying is that is a lot of fucking questions.
Okay,
like,
but hold on.
Hold on, let me finish. Is anyone in our pitching staff going to stay healthy? Like, we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, but you can't consider Nolan and Goldie question marks. That's ridiculous.
No. That's not what I'm saying, though, is I guess if Goldie comes back, I mean, natural.
Sure, but if Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts aren't Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, the Dodgers suck.
Okay, but we're not the Dodgers, and we're not a Dodgers podcast.
No, the Dodgers have gotten significantly worse. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's every team.
What I'm saying is if he comes back regression a little bit, just a little bit, and nobody else ups, and nobody else does take that next step, then you're looking at a worse offense than 2022, except the Wilson Contreras over Yachty. No offense to Yachty, massive upgrade.
Yeah, so wouldn't that even it out a little bit? So let's not ignore the fact that the Cardinals were a top 5 offense in baseball last year, but also here's my thing: they're in the worst division in the National League. I don't know about AL Central; it also sucks. But NL Central is. Wouldn't you rather know what you have in all these guys And then by July, you'll know what you need. On August 1st, when the trade deadline or whenever date it is this year, you'll know exactly what you need, and you're not going
It'll
to
be
be out of the
August 1st, July
division.
31st, August 3rd, whatever
Yeah,
they
something
are.
like that. But
No,
wouldn't you rather find out what Tyler O'Neill
yes,
is, what Dylan Carlson is, Nootbaar, Donovan, Gorman, and find out what your pitching rotation is looking like, so you know what you need, instead of
agreed.
going out there and signing, Michael Conforto.
No, don't want Mike. No.
So those were the
Circling
options.
back
Those were your
to circle
options.
back to what we said first. Please let me say, I am very optimistic of what Tyler O'Neill does this year. I'm very optimistic on what Lars Nootbaar does this year. I think Brendan Donovan is going to be I think you're looking at a guy who's going to produce year in and year out. I really do. I could be wrong. I don't know what to think about Dylan Carlson. I do think that the injuries last year played a massive part of that. I don't know what his ceiling is. Nobody does. I don't think
I
right
will
now.
say,
But
I saw a stat about Dylan Carlson, just to stand him for a second. Wasn't very good the first month of the year, and then after his injury, which was around the All-Star break, maybe right after the All-Star break, I believe. But the 2.5 months in between the first month and when he was injured, he had an 810 OPS.
yeah,
Like, he's a good player.
no,
He got hurt.
I know.
Like that's what
It is my
I'm willing to give him that benefit of the doubt as of now.
same.
If he comes out in the first half and he does the same thing again, then I think it's make or break for him and O'Neill this year, because you got Walker coming. You've got Nootbaar, who I have no reason to believe he's going to slow down. Maybe he does. But for Carlson and O'Neill, it's, hey, you better perform or you're getting shipped out. Like, you will not be
Agreed.
here. We have
Agreed.
options. We have guys coming behind you. And hopefully both of them thrive in that, but maybe only one does. And the one that doesn't, they're gone. Like, that's where
Yeah,
they're at right now. And I think they probably realize that, but they've got to figure it out. Both of them.
yeah, I agree.
Consistent.
And that's why, to circle all the way back to where we started, I'm excited to see how Ollie handles spring training. I really am. Because
Yeah.
you've got a lot of flexibility there. You don't need to give Nolan and I mean, obviously, Nolan and Goldie we're going to talk about in a little bit, but they're going to be at the World Baseball Classic. Nootbaar is going to be at the World Baseball Classic.
Tommy Edman.
Tommy's going to
We
be
might
at
as well
the
get to
World
that
Baseball
now, I
Classic.
guess, because that plays a big part into how spring training is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, but again, what I would say is you got a lot of flexibility to where you can move guys around to get like with those guys. Is Yepes playing? Have we heard? Is he playing in the World Baseball
I
Classic?
haven't heard anything about the
haven't heard that
Venezuelan
either.
team, so I'm interested to see if him or Contreras are going to go. I haven't heard.
Yeah, I haven't. And you made a really good point as we were talking earlier tonight. Contreras would. You and I going to try to go to the World Baseball Classic. Don't know if it's going to happen. We're going to try. That's our hope. I am all for guys playing for their countries for the World Baseball Classic. The World Cup had a blast watching. Not a soccer fan, but learned a lot. But also just the mystique around rooting and playing for your country. Guys love that stuff. The Olympics are the same way. But it is a great question. Would you rather have? And I'll pose it to you on here. Would you rather have Wilson Contreras playing for his Venezuela?
Venezuela.
In the World Baseball Classic, or would you rather have him here learning his pitching staff?
I'd rather his brother be the catcher for Venezuela and him be here with his pitching staff.
What do you think happens there?
I don't know, but here's the thing. I'm not going to be mad at him by any means if he goes. That's not something that bothers me at all. I think he never knows. He's 31. He might not know if he's going to be able to do that again in 4 years.
Right.
So I don't have a problem if he goes and does that. I'll state that. But if I were the one choosing selfishly, I would like him to be here. But also at the same time, some of our pitchers aren't going to be here. So maybe that doesn't even matter. Here's my hope. I hope he goes out.
I have a hunch he'll be here. I really do.
I hope he goes out to. Here's what I hope. I hope he goes out to Venezuela, has a great time, hits 3 bombs in 3 games, and gets bounced and comes back early.
That's
what I hope
at least he'll be with the pitchers and catchers February 14th. World Baseball Classic's not till March 15th, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, so maybe that would just be the games, but I do think there's a value in him being here, learning the pitching staff. But I also think that he's going to do his due diligence and know what's best for him. So
in the past, I've kind of been ho-hum on the World Baseball Classic. I watch it, but kind of home. I'm really excited about it this year. And just to go through a little bit for those of you who maybe haven't been paying this coaching staff, the DeRosa. First of all, I'm incredibly excited Mark DeRosa is the manager of this team. He just seems like I hope one day if he wants it. He has young kids. He might not. If he wants it, I hope he becomes a big league manager. I think he's pretty happy doing what he does on MLB. He coaches his kids' summer team. I think whatever. But my God, when your bench coach is Jerry Manuel, your pitching coach is Andy Pettit, your hitting coach is Griffey, your first base coach is Luke Collier. I apologize. I do not know Dino Ebel, the third base coach. I apologize. I should look him up. But then Dave Righetti's your bullpen coach. Like that, how much fun would that be?
Ken Griffey Jr. is the coolest part about that. You kind of glanced over, went past it a little bit quickly considering it's Ken Griffey Jr. But imagine being in the dugout and having Ken Griffey Jr. as your hitting coach.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
I hope every single player out there takes advantage of that. I know all the players there are kind of all-star, superstar level players, but man, that team's gonna be stacked. Cardinals have 6 guys committed right now, with Newbar, Tommy, Goldie Nolan, Michaelis, Waino. Those are 6 committed. And I wouldn't surprise me if you see Gallegos go pitch for Mexico. You go see Contreras play for Venezuela. Same with Yepez. They've got a lot of guys that are really good. They got a lot of guys playing for them, so that's cool. I'm happy for him. I think it's awesome. I'm really excited for it. But
I am too.
Are you worried? Okay, I guess I'll pose this question to you because I don't know how to feel. Are you worried about Michaelis and Wainwright? 2 guys you need to be able to eat innings for you this year, going to the World Baseball Classic and pitching.
I guess my easy answer is no, because they will be at spring training probably a week before pitchers and catchers get there. If anybody knows their bodies, it's those 2 guys. They're not. DeRosa's already said like he's not going deep with his. He has a stable of arms. He's not going to go deep with his arms. He's going to treat the pitchers like it's spring training. Obviously, they're going to go to win, but I mean, if
it's going to be a higher intensity than spring training.
Sure, but that's
a lot higher.
Yeah, it is. But I'm okay with that, and I don't know how much Waino really pitches in this. If we're going to be honest, like
I hope he pitches a decent amount, honestly. But
I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely. Those guys are like, I'm okay. I'm fine with our hockey players going to play in the Olympics. I'm fine with our basketball players after playing a massive game going to play in the summer. Like, I'm fine with it.
The one thing that makes me laugh a little bit is when you say Waino knows his body. I put that into question over the last month or so, month and 2 months, because I don't know how much he knows his body, given what he said. That he didn't know that his leg was the problem. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I think here's my view. Waino should go do everything he can do for his last year of baseball, live it up, go compete at the World Baseball Classic, and hopefully he's pitching in postseason games for his last season here in St. Louis.
Agreed.
I hope that's what happens. Can I be honest with you? The guy that worries me most is Miles Michaelis, because he might be the most important piece of this rotation in 2023, just because he's the guy that can get, like, he got you 200 innings last year. And I know 200 innings is great, but people are kind of forgetful that he's not been healthy very often for the Cardinals lately.
Yeah.
I don't want him to throw a pitch. Go throw Sage in the dugout and have some fun. I don't want him maybe close out a game. I don't want him starting a game for them.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds bad, and I hope he has a great experience, but if he's hurt, if that happens, knock on wood, again, the rotation that was already mediocre becomes bad. You know?
Yeah, I do, and I mean, we're I feel like we're going in circles a little bit here, but that's okay. The one guy I am excited about for our staff, not on the World Baseball Classic, I'm excited to see a healthy Steven Matz. I feel like the Cards fans have already written him off and called it a terrible deal, and maybe we look back in 3 years and it is, but we don't know. What I will say is this: when he came back, remember, he was rolling until that fluke play where he fields the ground ball, hyperextends the leg or whatever he does. I mean, he was pitching great and was going to probably be, a valuable guy heading into the postseason.
He's going to be your 3.
Right. And, I think that's a guy that the Cardinals fans have not got to see anything of what Steven Matz can do. And I really believe that guy, I'm hoping, I don't know Steven Matz personally. I know that he has had a very good base. When he's healthy, he is a very solid MLB pitcher. And I'm hoping that he is where he needs to be to come out and say, here's what you paid me for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he had an interesting year last year. His grandpa died right before one of his starts. 2 injuries. He had a tough year. And here's the thing about Steven Matz. Like, no matter what you think about the deal, here's my opinion. It will never be a bad deal. It's $11 million a year. If it's a bad deal that's hindering you, that's on the ownership. That's not on Steven Matz.
Right.
$11 million to do nothing to you if he ends up being horrible for 3 years. It's nothing. It's nothing for them. But also, he worked his ass off to get back. He didn't have to do that. He had a torn ligament in his knee. I don't remember what it was exactly. And people thought he was out for the year for sure. This was in July.
Right.
He came back and was a bullpen piece for him for the last month of the year.
And was pitching great.
Everything he did for you, like he worked his ass off. He was great in 2021 for the Blue Jays. So I'm excited to see what he looks like too.
Me too.
He also has probably, other than Jack, the most strikeout potential in our rotation.
Yeah.
And we need strikeouts in our rotation, especially with the shift going away. So I think he's going to be good given health. which you can say that for everybody, but I think he'll be much better than he was last year.
How excited are you about the pictures that we see of a yoked Lars Nootbaar hitting the ball 109 miles an hour with the cups all over him?
Like, in underwear, just in underwear.
What did he do New Year's Eve? That he needed all the cups. It looked like leeches. It's like, remember that scene in Stand By Me where they get out? I was like, what did Lars fall into a fucking river?
Can I tell you what it is? Those are like biomechanic things. It keeps track of your body.
I assume. I was joking.
But no. I also saw a video of Nolan doing that too. So if you want to go look at that's your thing, go look for that. So I'm
like leeches.
I'm guessing they were doing that together. But yeah, I'm really excited. 109 miles per hour is wild to hit a ball.
Does he look like 20 pounds heavier? 10? Like
I don't know about 20, but he looks bigger. I guess I've never seen him in his underwear. That's the first time I've ever seen him in his underwear, so I don't know. But he looks good, man. I mean, from everything I've heard, the guy works his ass off. So I really think he's going to be really good. I almost think he's the one in the outfield. Imagine if I told you last year that he was the one that I felt most confident about solidifying a spot in the outfield. And he really is that guy for me. I think you might see him be your center fielder at some point.
Not only do you feel he's going to be good, but so do a lot of fucking baseball teams around the league who are really hot after the Lars Nootbaar. Like
you can't have him, by the way, guys. You can't have him.
He's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. To circle back to where we talked at the beginning about the payroll and everything else. I just don't know right now that there is a move to be made. And unless you're going to get it again, if it is, it's going to be, and we've said this for months now. If it is, it's one that nobody saw coming. That's what I'll say. Right? I don't think it's Tyler Glass now. I don't think it's him because Tampa Bay is loaded. And now you're in the belief that they're going to probably trade him at some point this season. I don't see them trading him now. I just coming off.
I think it'll be after this season, not this season.
Yeah, coming off an injury season, I don't think his value is as high as it could be next year. Do you know what I mean?
He did get a lot for him if they offered him.
Do you see Chris Sale in a card? Like, I don't see that as a trade.
I mean, apparently they did reach out to Jerry Carrabba said this. I trust him for the Red Sox. Said that they talked to them, but it wasn't anything substantial. Might have just been a conversation like, hey, what's his availability? But to me, the only move I could see them making would be for Pablo Lopez. That's the only one because I think that they match up well with the Marlins. Marlins want bats. Cardinals have a lot of bats. Pablo Lopez is good. Cardinals need good pitching. But to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to get traded. Here's what it tells me: zero starting pitchers have been traded this offseason. That tells me the price is really high. Like, if Pablo Lopez was at a point where he was attainable at a reasonable price, he'd be gone. He'd be somewhere else.
It also goes back to what you and I have talked about on here and have tried to explain. It seems like banging our heads on a wall to people on Twitter is that we already have 5 starters, right? So unless you're dealing one of those 5 starters for another starter, which is sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul, like they're not going to add a start. They're not going to 6-man rotation. One of those 5 guys right now are not going to the bullpen. They're just not. And so you're not going to add another starter unless there are to gain a starter, there has to be 2 trades because Miami's not going to want Jordan Montgomery or Miles or whoever you're wanting to trade, right?
Miles won't get traded anyway.
No, I don't think so either. So that's I just don't see. It's almost like you go to every spot and you're like, okay, well, what if the only thing I could see is if they added and made a trade for a big time outfielder. I don't know who that is.
No, stop.
I don't think it's.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you why that will never happen? Can I just tell you like the reason that's illogical and would never happen is because the Cardinals know that they need a starting pitcher and they will need one at some point. They know that. They know they're going to need one for next year. So do you think it's John Moselic's best interest to trade pieces for something that they believe in? Like they believe in the 5 outfielders. They have 5 outfielders. But more importantly, but here's what I'm saying.
I believe it's going to happen. I was saying that's the only thing that.
No, it would be the only thing that would happen would be for a pitcher.
So then they'd have to include a pitcher, which again, unless you're getting a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, I mean that would be what it would be for. I don't think they're going to get a 5. But here's what I'm saying: like, and people want Brian Reynolds, and I get it. Brian Reynolds is a really good baseball player. Okay, fine, I get it. If you trade Carlson and all these young guys, because it's going to cost a lot, if you trade all those young guys for Brian Reynolds, well, what the hell happens in July when you need a pitcher and all of your resources are gone? What are you going to do? Trade Jordan Walker? Like that's why you can't just say, well, Brian Reynolds, I'll trade Dylan Carlson and Liberatore and Graceffo for him because he's worth that. Well, maybe, but then now you've lost all of your trade chips.
So everywhere we've gone so far, we've kind of hit a roadblock. Do you believe that the 40-man roster that we see right now is what we see heading right into spring training?
I think in order for them to make a move, someone's going to have to get hurt in spring training for a pitcher. A pitcher's going to have to get hurt, or they're going to see how it plays out because they can afford to because they're in a horrible division, and they're going to make a move at the deadline.
Okay. Could you see them signing Andrew Chafin?
No.
Okay. Okay.
And here's why.
So then the answer,
I think they like Zach
the answer
Thompson.
you're looking for that I asked is yes, right? Like, yes, we're going in with the 16th payroll. We're going in with this right now. Now, granted, are there arbitration cases coming up here soon that's going to up that payroll? I assumed that there were, right?
There's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be around 180. 180 is going to be the payroll,
right?
Ish.
Yep.
Which, by the way, 30 up like 25 million from the beginning of last year. It did go up.
Yeah.
Like, don't look at the payroll at the end of last year. That doesn't matter.
Correct.
Look at the beginning. It did go up. He didn't lie. That's quite a substantial increase. Like, it really is. Now, is that substantial as the Padres payroll? No, it's not. And I know that's what people want, but that's just not. Yeah. It was never really.
I am getting to where I'm lucky down here, and you've been down in part of it. We got to go. Shout out to our boy Tyler Breath for getting us unbelievable NBA tickets. Kale and I went. My buddy Tyler comes down. We all go with he and his family. Kale and I go with he and his family. We are fourth row off the floor at the Pels game. Pels, no Zion, no Herb Jones, no Trey Murphy,
no Ingram.
Pacers starting everyone, and we just rickrolled. We absolutely demolished them. But sitting four rows off the court is an unbelievable experience. It was so much fun. Like, I love going to the NBA games now that we're down here anyway. But I've really enjoyed the Pelicans. Blues are terrible, so I'm enjoying that. That's keeping me going until baseball season. Zion, what do you know? He's hurt again. Zion's hurt again. Hope he's fine.
Send positive vibes to him. He's becoming one of my favorite athletes in the world. Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, they're up 20 at halftime, so that's cool. Right now.
Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, they're not good, but then you need to win the game. Yeah, I'm really, really ready. I don't know. I think a lot of people are and this is kind of what we wanted to get into, so I think we should get into it now. The negativity around the Cardinals is wild to me. It really is, because I think you look at it, as of right now on paper, you cannot name me an offense that has this depth. You can't. And you can try hard. You can't name me one offense that has as many potential impact players as the Cardinals do. Not even close.
Really?
They have a shortstop right now.
Well, yeah, they do. It's Von Grissom,
who was horrible the last month, and he's a question mark. Okay, but maybe Atlanta. Hold on.
Time. I'm throwing the flag.
It's a different question mark.
He's never the question marks that we have.
Okay, yeah, but the question marks are people that have already done it in the big leagues, not 20-year-olds. Like Dylan Carlson's been a top 3 finalist and rookie of the year. Tyler O'Neill got MVP votes. Those aren't the same level of question marks.
Their only question mark is a 20-year-old future superstar.
Okay, sure.
That's it.
Like Atlanta's really good. But
I'm sorry. You can't look me in the eye and tell me you would rather have the Cardinals offense than the Braves offense.
No, I'm telling you depth is what I said. They don't have 12 guys you'd like to have. Name me 12. They don't have a left fielder that's good. They don't have a good DH. And they also don't have a shortstop that you know about. So we're here in St. Louis and we watch them every day, so we know what our problems are and we focus on those. But they don't have a left fielder. Eddie Rosario was terrible last year, and Marcell Ozuna god awful. They don't have their DH is going to be a catcher.
Those are 2 proven big league bats, dude.
They're not. Right, they're horrible. They're proven to be horrible. They were 2 of the worst hitters in baseball last year.
Duvall back?
I don't think so. And he was also bad last year.
Well, he was hurt last year.
He was bad when he was healthy.
Yeah, he was. So, yeah,
he's on my fantasy team.
They do have question marks. I'm just saying, we don't have Acuna, Albies, Sean Murphy, Austin Riley, Michael Harris, and Matt Olson. We don't have those 6 guys.
No, they're really good. They probably have the best offense in baseball. That's not what I was saying. I was saying the deepest in terms of offensive talent, in terms of how many, not top tier talent, but how many guys they have that could legitimately be massively impactful in the lineup. They have 12 guys,
Okay.
Like I can't
on board
find another one.
Optimism train. It's a new year. It's 2023. New year, new me, new optimism.
Like the Braves, don't get me wrong. The Braves, they have the most talent of any offense in baseball in terms of if they all do what we've seen them do, if Harris does it again and Acuna goes back to Acuna and all that stuff clicks and Ozzie Albies is healthy, then yeah, they're the best offensive baseball. It's not close. But what I'm saying is you got 5 outfielders you like, 6 outfielders maybe that you think could be really good. You've got your 4 infielders already, and plus Nolan Gorman, throw him in the mix, and Juan Yepez. You've got one of the best offensive catchers in baseball. I mean, and people want Brian Reynolds, and I don't understand it.
Look, again, very optimistic. I'm very excited. Like I said, if it weren't for the Pelicans keeping me going right now, I would be in a rut because Illinois basketball, not what we thought they'd be so far. North Carolina basketball, not what we thought they'd be so far. The Saints are dead. The Blues are dead. It's wild. As you said just a little bit ago about Zion T's and P's, I do think we'd be remiss as a sports podcast if we didn't talk about Damar Hamlin just for a minute. I'm not going to go into what happened. Everybody saw it. Everybody's seen it. All I can say is, as a parent, as a former athlete, as a former coach, and as a human, all I hope is that everything is okay. That's it. That's all I can say. Like, I couldn't imagine I've heard of people talk about this before, but I couldn't imagine as a parent sitting there helpless, just hoping not that he comes through like a leg injury. Okay. Like that he wakes up and is alive. So I remember Hank Gathers. I remember the Chris Pronger hit. We've talked about the Bo Meester hit. We've seen guys collapse on the field like that in other sports. I've never seen it in football like that. I've never seen a guy. I've just never seen anything like. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. Obviously, I hope he's okay. News continues to get more and more optimistic. It seems like, which is obviously great.
Yes.
I can't imagine being his teammate. I can't imagine being T. Higgins. I hope he's okay. That has to mess you up. It's not his fault at all.
Especially when he has national media calling it.
Let's not get into that.
I'm not get into that. I'm just saying when you got
it's not going to make it better. It's not important. I don't want to talk about those people. But it's horrible. I mean, you don't expect that. It was. I mean, not that this matters, but everyone sitting down to watch Monday Night Football. Some of the most talented teams in football. You don't expect to see something like this. Yeah, the biggest game of the year, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it's horrible.
Because obviously, as humans, all we care about is him right now. But I'd like to. I don't know. So this is a rhetorical question. If you're the Buffalo Bills, how do you show up to prep? How did you show up to practice today? Do you get ready to play I know that so often, and you and I have talked. We've been a big pro athlete show. That was our thing when we started this, right? We wanted to put the guys in a positive light, not always a negative light. But so often we live in the video game society, where whatever, like you see it on fantasy trades on Twitter all the time. Oh, let's trade whatever. We forget that these dudes are human. These aren't just robots. Yeah, they're the greatest athletes in the world. They would beat you at every single sport you ever played them at. Not you. I'm saying you as a whole. Do you know what I mean?
No, they beat me too.
But I don't know as a human how I just don't.
You haven't asked a question yet.
I don't know how you show up and play football on Sunday. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think as more information comes out, it may make it better or it may make it worse. It could be a thing where he had a condition already, or it could be something where he didn't. And then how are you a safety flying around hitting people? Without that in your mind, I don't know the answer to that. I know that in hockey, the Blues played after Bo Meester and Pronger, So I don't know. I mean, they're very mentally tough. I know that they have mental skills coaches that are going to be heavily relied upon right now. But I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I would think
it was like I said, it was a rhetorical question.
I would think positive outcome makes it easier. I'm not even going to go on the other side of what that could mean if it's not positive, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. They might still not be focused on football, and they might not play Sunday.
Do you believe that the only answer, and then we'll move on. Do you believe that the only answer is to just void the game? Like, there's no way that that game's going to be like. First of all, I told you this the other night. If the NFL says you two have to play, I hope the Bengals and the Bills show up. They walk out to the 50. They all kneel and then walk back into the locker room because no way
they're not playing that game.
Cursed. That game's cursed. No way.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. Like they're not going to play that game. There's no reason to play it.
There's so many variables, but yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they played. I don't even really care. I don't think the players care. I honestly don't even think. I know the league's probably thinking about it, But I bet that's the last thing on most of these guys'
Yeah.
mind is how they make up that
Yeah.
game. So I
agree.
don't know. I don't really care. I doubt
me
they'll play
neither.
it. I
Yeah.
think it'd kind of be horse shit if they did, but they haven't.
Same.
So I don't
I
think
think
they
they'll
will.
just void it. Again, from Caleb and I both, nothing but T's and P's, good vibes, good juju sent to not only Damar and his family. I mean, for first and foremost, but everyone involved who around him, teammates, the Bengals, the city of Buffalo, the city of Cincinnati, all of them. Like that's all we can do. And I just keep like tuning in, just waiting to hear good news. I don't have any connection to other than being a human, any of them. I can only imagine what friends, family, and teammates are thinking. I can only I can only think about it. It's wild.
Yeah. There's no easy
So,
transition from that.
huh?
There's no easy transition from
No,
that.
there's
But
not. But I
obviously,
just thought we'd be remiss not to talk
yeah.
about it. I really
Obviously,
did.
we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's really sad, and I think he'll be okay. I'm seeing
Yeah.
my positive vibes. I think he's gonna be
Same.
okay.
Same.
But
Same.
what do you want to get to next? I don't know what's next
Do
on
you
our
want?
agenda.
Well, I mean, honestly, I didn't have much else on the agenda unless you want to talk about some of the moves that happened. Like what is going to go on with Carlos Correa? That's one thing that like
Yeah. We haven't even been on here since he was a Met.
no.
So that's big news. Carlos Correa
Let me
might be a
say,
Met.
I have said for like months, hey, I think he's going to play third base for the Mets. You told me he's
You
not going
know,
to do
you know what,
By the way,
that's bullshit because he wasn't a Met, and then the
first of
Giants
all,
backed out.
well, whatever. But then this goes down with the Mets. Another thing, like something else I've never seen before. It's
Not
probably happened.
twice.
I don't know it. Not on this level of Carlos Correa. I can't remember. But what do you think happens with Carlos Correa?
Can I ask you a few questions? One, I don't know. I think it'll be a Met. That's my prediction. I think it'll be a Met, and I think it'll be a substantially different deal than what was reported.
Okay.
But I've got a couple of questions. One, do you think what were the Mets thinking offering him $315 million after the Giants said we can't even get this guy on our team?
Is it
And
fair
two,
hold
on, I have multiple.
Two-parter.
And
Two-parter.
if the Mets, do you think the Mets may have intended on offering him enough to get him to accept the offer, but knowing that they were going to say this physical is not good enough and get the price down, knowing that if that deal falls through, his market's basically shit on. Like it's shit. You're going to get a 2-year deal at that point.
Evidently, it wasn't the Mets. It was Steve Cohen. Like we learned that Steve Cohen was the one who did this in the dark of the night, essentially, right? I don't know. I'm not putting anything past Cohen. I'm not putting anything past the Mets. I wouldn't put it past any of the owners. Like in baseball, the whole thing. We've watched the man produce every year of his major league career, and now San Francisco either gets wet feet. I don't know what happened. I still don't know really exactly what happened there. And then it happens, and if you're Carlos Correa, what can you say? Hey, all I have done is ever since I've stepped foot on a Major League Baseball field is be one of the fucking best in my position and win. That's all I've done, and hit and play Gold Glove defense. So I if you're Carlos Correa, again, you asked two great questions. I can't answer either of them. I have so many more that I don't even know how to verbalize.
Well, I mean, at this point, we know what it is. It's his ankle that had a botched surgery on it. So not his fault at all. But
what I'm saying is he's still performing at an elite
level. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're giving him a 13-year deal. You're not giving. I mean, if it was a 4-year deal, they wouldn't give one shit. It's a 13, 12-year deal. Like they're going to care about their long-term investment. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I think giving a 12-year deal to anyone's stupid unless they're like 25, 26. Like giving a guy a deal through 41 doesn't make any sense to me anyway. Correa's a great talent. And here's my last question on Correa. Does him being a third baseman, is he worth this contract as a third baseman? I don't think so.
Here would be my answer.
Against him, but
my answer would be if the Mets win a World Series, the answer is yes. If they bring a World Series back to New York,
sure, but I'm talking pure player value.
A winner. The answer to Steve Cohen is Steve Cohen doesn't care. That dude is a billionaire, multi-billionaire. He does not care what he spends. He's proven that. He will spend to hopefully win. So in his mind, if there is a parade going down Manhattan, one of those numbered streets in Manhattan, the answer is yes to him.
Yeah, but I'm not asking you if it's worth it for Steve Cohen because he thinks $160 million is worth it for Brandon Nimmo, which is just nuts. But here's my thing: what makes Carlos Correa so special is one, he's one of the best defensive shortstops I've ever seen, and two, he's an 830 career OPS guy at that position. Now you send him over to third base. The best hitters in that position are 900 OPS guys, not 830. So
Right.
so is he? He's not as like Lindor is a great player. He's a fantastic shortstop because of what he can bring offensively at that position. But you put him at third base, he's not one of the best third basemen in baseball
Right.
hitting
I
wise.
agree.
You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Like, so the
Yeah.
value from just slide him over to third, yeah, that works for Team Puerto Rico. But the value of money, like he's getting paid like a shortstop at a premium position.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be a good defender over there. Don't get me wrong; he'll probably be a finalist for the Gold Glove over there at third base. But I just don't know. I don't know. Like he's not Nolan Arenado offensively.
No.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah. I don't. It's so interesting. Let's go through a few of the free agent signings and we'll get out of here. All right. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Or was there anything else you really wanted to hit on with the Cardinals?
I did think we needed to talk about
We got about 5 minutes.
them being ranked 11th in the power rankings. That was what we wanted to talk about.
Okay, well, let's focus on that. Then we don't have to mess with the free agents. We can get to those guys later.
Let's just shout out Rafael Devers for his contract, and then we can not talk about them anymore.
Devers. Also, shout out to Matt Carpenter for signing with the Padres. Glad to see him land at home.
That's a good signing for them and him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And Rafael Devers
today. No, I mean, that's one of the best hitters in baseball, not just in Boston, not just in the American League, not just in the AL East, in baseball. I was very geeked to see Rafael Devers get that bag. He deserves it. Young, stud hitter. I don't know the third base is his long-term career. He may end up somewhere else. Who cares? That dude shows up and hits. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
He'd look a lot better if Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts were by his side, but the Red Sox didn't want to pay them for some reason. But it's good for them. It's good for them. It's good for the fans. It's good for Rafael Devers. Now go make more moves because your team's not good.
You know who it's not necessarily great for? Me as the fantasy baseball owner who has him in my dynasty league and was hoping that maybe he would sign a 1-year prove-it deal, which he did yesterday. And then today got the big extension.
He didn't sign a prove-it deal.
Well, no, it was like remember he got the 1-year extension deal, and then they took the extension even farther.
Well, it wasn't an extension. It was an arbitration settling.
Right. My hope was he just got the 1 year. That's what I'm saying. And then
I think Rafi.
That's
well, he'll hit 30 bombs and have a 900 OPS because that's just what he does.
Again, I say that jokingly.
Yeah, he's one of the best players in baseball. You watch when we went. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'll go be quick about this, but we were watching him when the Cardinals went to Boston for the first time since Rafael Devers has been a Red Sox. He horrifies you when he comes into the plate. Yes, the guy's a freaking beast. He hits everything so hard. And man, I'm just happy for him. 11 years, $332 million. Good for him.
Yep. Okay, so 11th, Cardinals are 11th. Where do they rank in the National League? You have that right in front of you.
Let me look this ranking up real quick and I can get it.
11th is interesting. 14 teams make the playoffs.
12
teams make the playoffs. My math, again, taught public speaking, didn't teach math. 12 teams make the playoffs. Would you put them, so they have to be 5th or 6th probably in the National League? Would you?
They're behind the Mets, Braves, Padres, Phillies, Dodgers. They're 5th in the NL.
I mean, let me ask you this. Are any of those 5 teams, would you put them ahead of right now, January 3rd? Now, I'm not worried about the 11th. Like, I don't care where they rank or stack up, honestly, against the American League teams. If we're looking to get the National League, the goal for this team is not to win the Senate. That has to stop. The goal for this team has to be to advance in the playoffs and give yourself a chance to play for a championship, another World Series in November. That has to be the goal, right?
Here's what I'll say. All we can do right now is look on paper, and this happens every year, right? I mean, you have teams that sign Trey Turner, right? The Phillies. You have teams that sign Xander Bogaerts, the Padres. So they're exciting teams. Let's not forget, just because those teams were in the NLCS and one went to the World Series, that they were middling teams last year for almost a whole year.
Agreed.
So we have to see what they do. I mean, I right now on paper, would I say the Cardinals have a better roster than the Phillies? Probably not. Padres? Probably not. But I mean, would it surprise me if they were 3rd in the NL? No. I think the Cardinals will have a chance to get a bye this year, and that's me being optimistic. But I don't think there's going to be one of these teams. I'm playing the odds of how many times I've seen the winners of the offseason shit the bed. How many times I've seen that? Almost every year. One of these teams, whether it's the Mets, the Phillies, or the Padres, the teams that make massive moves, are going to not be nearly as good as you think they will be. That's just going to happen. Now, who it will be, I have no idea.
But I think that the argument could be made that the Cardinals and the Dodgers, like the Cardinals have closed the gap on the Dodgers.
The Cardinals are better than the Dodgers right now. Actually, I'll say that.
Well, we don't know that.
On paper, I'll take our roster.
Staff is dramatically better than ours.
How? Other than Urias, Gonsolin,
May.
We don't know. He's a question mark. Kershaw, okay. Yeah, the starting rotation is better. The bullpen, they don't have a Ryan Helsley. They don't have a Giovanni Gallegos team. I mean, Evan Phillips is really good, so I shouldn't say that. But
I mean,
their
Gratterall,
lineup, he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good. He doesn't strike
okay,
anybody
well,
out. He does 103 and strikes nobody out.
I guess what I'm saying is I think that we have closed the gap on the Dodgers. Here's what I think is going to be interesting to see. Two things for me. You've got the East with the Mets,
He's been
the
good.
yeah, thank you.
Solid. He's been solid. He's not
The Mets, the Phillies, the Braves, right? And honestly, the Marlins are going to surprise some teams because of the way they can pitch. They're
not.
They're going to win some games because of the way they can pitch. They are.
They'll win 75 games.
The Nationals are irrelevant right now. But what I'm saying is that's 3 in that division. Dodgers, and Padres out west. We don't know what the Giants. I mean, the Giants now went from who knows what's going to happen with the
I like the
Giants.
Diamondbacks
In
out
the
there,
Central.
though.
I mean, today the Brewers signed Zach Davies and
no, just Wade Miley.
No, sorry, Wade Miley. Cubs signed. Who signed Zach Davies?
The Diamondbacks.
Diamond. No.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what it was. So we don't know what's going to happen with the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Reds. But the one thing that's most interesting to me is the balanced schedule. Like, I think that changes. Like, I really do think that it could either benefit or hurt the Cardinals, because you could say, well, now we're going to play teams more. Well, we're also playing a lot of the bad teams more. So, I think it kind of offsets itself, but I do think it's going to be interesting to see how these teams play in a balanced schedule. All of them. Those 6 teams right there, with the Brewers slightly behind them, the Giants, the Cubs, however you want to label that next group, the Marlins, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting race.
You know what I think?
It's those top 2 spots, because
Yeah.
you could argue that the Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets are going to beat up on each other.
Yeah, you know what I think is interesting, and I think the people I don't think it hurts anybody. I don't think it hurts the Cardinals because they're going to be playing bad teams from other divisions. I don't think it hurts anybody. You know what I do think it does, though? I think it heavily benefits the Diamondbacks. They don't have to play the Dodgers all the time. I think it benefits the teams in the NL East that aren't playing each other all the time. So I think that benefits them greatly. But I don't think it hurts anybody. I really don't.
Agreed.
I think the Dodgers got way worse, and people aren't talking about it.
I think the mystique of the fact is that it's still the Dodgers. You still have Freddie Freeman. Hold on. You still have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts,
okay.
Will Smith.
Okay.
Well, that's – who else am I missing? Am I missing somebody?
Are you missing Chris Taylor? Does that excite you? What about Trace Thompson?
Yeah.
What about Gavin Lux playing shortstop? I don't know who the second baseman is. What about Prospect playing third base? They lost Max Muncy somewhere, but he was horrible last year.
Max Muncy. That's who I was forgetting.
He's bad.
Well, he was very good second half when he got healthy. He was. When he got over
What's
the shoulder,
very good? What is the definition of very good here?
He started to hit down the stretch, as again, fantasy owner. Started to hit down the stretch.
He was fine.
September, better. He was better in August and September.
He batted under 200. He had a horrible year.
He's always going to bat. I'm talking about August.
He's never batted under 200 in his career.
Okay, you're not listening. The AirPods aren't working.
I get it, but I'm saying the expiration date on Max Muncy, he's not young, right? No. He's 32. He was not a big. Here's my thing. I don't want to. Max Muncy's fine. Maybe he'll bounce back. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But their lineup, they lost Corey Seager.
I agree.
They lost Trey Turner. They're not the same Dodgers. They're not this big bad wolf anymore. They lost Justin Turner. They lost
Bellinger.
Walker Buehler for the year. Bellinger's gone.
Bellinger, yeah.
They're not.
So it's going to be
AJ Pollock.
interesting to see there. I agree. I'm excited for the balanced schedule. As a baseball fan, I'm excited to get to see all the teams that the Cardinals are getting to play that we normally don't get to play. We play them every 3 years or 4 years or whatever. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to get to see some of the other teams more. I'm also excited not to see the fucking Pirates and Reds and all the time.
Me too.
I know that we can beat up on them. Who cares? I don't care. It gets old after a while. So
I do think if the Cardinals do this thing again where they lose pitching and they do all this stuff that they've done the past 2 years, hopefully they don't. I think they're going to be way better. I think if their pitching is healthy, they've been a 90 to 93 win team the last 2 years, right? And they've had a month and a half or 2 month stretch where they've been horrible because they had no pitching both years. So if they just get healthy pitching, they could easily win 100 games. They've been able to do. But here's the thing: I think if they're going through that again, they're not going to have a series against the Pirates and the Reds as much to fall back on. So maybe it will expose some of their weaknesses if they have those. I think they're going to be a really good team, though. I think you could see a Cardinal team that's either decimated by injury if their pitching staff does what it did again, or you could see a Cardinal team that's really a lot better than people thought and fighting for a bye. I could see it go either way.
I think so too. It's gonna be. I think honestly, Cardinals 6th in the National League when we look on paper because that's
I
all
don't
you
agree
can
with
do.
that.
That's all you can do. I would have them 5th or 6th. I would. I just would if we're looking logically at everything. But again, I mean, if you look, the Padres have a better. I mean, they have a much better rotation on paper. So
They
do the
don't have the
Phillies.
fourth or fifth
So do
starter.
the Braves, and so do the Mets.
Yeah,
And
I
so do
mean,
the Dodgers.
yes, rotation wise, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think honestly, when with all the question marks that we start off the show talking about, I think I think the Cardinals in the 6th slot. That's a good spot for them to be right now. That doesn't mean that they're not going to go up. Who gives a fuck where they are January the 4th?
Yeah, I don't
What
care.
matters is where they are November the 4th.
Yeah,
Right?
you know what I
That's
think? The thing that's so interesting to me, and this is the last thing I'll say about it, the one guy currently on the roster, two guys currently on the roster that can significantly change how other people perceive them and to being an okay team that could be really good to a great team are Jack Flaherty and Tyler O'Neill.
Agreed.
Those
were
two,
the two I would have gone with.
If those two become Jordan Walker's a wild card, I don't want to put any
Yeah, we
pressure on
can't get
him.
him in there yet. I agree.
But if Jack Flaherty becomes an ace, that problem's solved. If Tyler O'Neill becomes the fourth big bat in this lineup, I mean, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
So if those two do think we've seen them do before, not more than they've done, not unrealistic, I think they could end up being, a top 3 team in baseball. So we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Yep, I think we're in agreement on that. Great to be back. You've been down here the entire time. It's been fun. We told you we're taking a break with the holidays. We wanted to enjoy all that, but it was time to get back. We had to get back. Just a few things for us going forward. Our hope is to put out 2 or 3 of these a week now. We really want to start getting some more. We got a lot of content. We're lining up some great guests for you guys. Not only just maybe some old great standbys that we've used in the past. I hate to call them standbys. That's the wrong thing. They've been fantastic. They're not standbys. You know
Some
what I'm saying?
background
Like
characters.
The old reliables, the guys who we love having on. Like those are awesome. We'll keep that going. But also, we're hoping to bring in some more guys, some people from the Cardinals, some people from around Major League Baseball, some people from around the podcast world, hopefully, just to enhance not just what we do, but also for you guys. 2, if you can, when you're on here watching, please hit that little subscribe button. Subscriptions have been awesome. They are really going up. We thank you guys. Can't thank you enough. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, Hard9Pod, at Caleb Noble 08, at Mike Noble 08, and you can always find us on Facebook. We've yet to get into the Instagram game or the Snapchat. I'm not getting into Snapchat.
I'm not getting into that.
So, we're not there yet.
There's one more thing that I think I wanted to say that we were going to do, if this is okay with you. Well, you didn't let me. You just did that, so I want to do it. I think we're going to be doing player profiles.
It's always just one more thing.
Okay, well, don't interrupt me while I'm saying it. I think we're going to be doing.
Okay, there was that disrespect that Nate was talking about.
Shut up, please.
Oh, there it is.
I said please.
For Christmas, you did not get respect in your stocking.
I said no, I didn't. I got sausage. Anyway,
Whoa.
I did. You gave it to me. Okay, can we get back on track?
Words that's never been spoken.
This has really gone off the rails. But what I wanted to say was, I think we're going to do player profiles on all the Cardinals, so that's going to be exciting. We're going to try and schedule that out. I don't know. We'll announce when we find out what day of the week we're going to release them. But we want to be more consistent, so you guys know when to look for what we're posting. Because sometimes we're just like, oh, you want to do it today? No, we'll just do it tomorrow, and it's just no rhyme or reason for it. But it's better to be consistent, I think.
Agreed.
And I'm excited because I want to dig deeper into some of these guys. About what they can bring for the Cardinals and what we expect them to do. Because, like we said, there's a lot of guys for a lot of spots that are all over the place, and we don't know really what to expect. So it's going to be fun to dig into that.
Agreed. And to add to that, we're going to try to focus on the 40-man roster as it stands right now. It's pretty well set. There could always be a change, and if something happens, we'll go from there. Try to focus on the 40-man roster. But as we talked about earlier, these guys aren't just robots, right? They're not just robots. They're not just a video game. They're not just people you watch in this big box and think that they're infallible. They're humans. So not only are we going to give you what you can find on the back of a baseball card or on a baseball reference page, anybody can find that. We're going to try and also give you maybe a little bit more information on who are these guys, right? Who are they? Obviously, we know Wayno. We know those guys. But there are a lot of young, fresh faces on this team that even though we watch them play every day, we might not know a lot about them. And I think that bringing that to you guys, not only is good for us, for you and I, Caleb, but for everybody to get to know who these guys are. And hopefully maybe we can have a couple of them on. That would be super cool.
That would be awesome.
Yep. Anything else? One more thing?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. It is great to be back with you all. We thank you again one more time. Hopefully you've had an amazing holiday season, whatever that is you celebrate. If you don't celebrate anything, hopefully you had a great December. 2, hopefully you had an awesome, happy New Year. We did. We had a really good one. We went to see the Revivalists here in New Orleans. Fantastic time. As always, I forgot what I was going to say, but that's all right. As always, stay safe, take care of each other, be kind. We'll talk to you soon.